Welcome, everyone, to CDO Magazine series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders, and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President of Sandhill Consultants, and coming to you today from Toronto, Canada. On behalf of CDO Magazine, I have the pleasure of introducing Marc Johnson, who is the founder of Team Central. Welcome, Marc.
Welcome, Robert. I appreciate you having us. Appreciate the opportunity to get to talk with you and be a part of the CDO Magazine.
So when I was looking at your background, I noticed that you have been in the software development space for 20 plus years. I'm curious as to why you focused on the no code, low code technology. Why now? Especially in a competitive market. So,
my background, as you said, is in technology and building things. I think back to really the first introduction that I had to web development was like before the 2000s in Microsoft Front Page. And you look at a product like that where, they had these WYSIWYG editors where you can drag and drop things. And the next thing you know, you have a web page online. And the simplicity of that was enticing. What I found as I tried to do more complex things for customers is those types of tools kind of started to fall down for me, or I started to kind of work against those tools. Right. So for a lot of my career, especially my consulting career, I really wasn't kind of a proponent of this space. I liked the control from a development standpoint to be able to manage things at a much lower level. The turning point for me, and I don't even know if Airbnb ever even used this technology, but I was reading an article where they were literally taking wireframes built in some technology and transferring those to highly functioning HTML pages and doing that. And so that was kind of a light bulb for me that the low code thing is not a fad. It is absolutely going to change a lot of the ways in which we build software going forward. And so I want to be a part of it. And so that's kind of what my mindset is, and really being able to, what I found is I talk to more and more both technical and non-technical people. So there's I think obvious ways that we can help non-technical people do more complex things via no code. But even from a very technical standpoint, and I mentioned those SaaS-based companies, they have an army of very technical people that could certainly solve these things. But the problem is they have a backlog of the things that are really strategic for their business. And so as I interact with more technical people, there's a real value prop there to say, look, there's a bunch of stuff that we can solve with low code that will take things off of your plate so that you can focus on the more complex and more strategic things for your business, the more differentiating things for your business. And so I think that there's a great play in both, and that's kind of where my mind.
So it's interesting, you mentioned both the business user and the technical user. Who are the predominant users of the central team, the iPaaS platform today, and can you maybe go through an actual scenario of how it would actually work for one of those users?
Yeah. So, as I said, our starting point was kind of mid-market organizations who have little to no IT, and really the users in those situations are like apps managers, people that are kind of techno-functional, but they are responsible for making sure all the systems are up and that people are getting the most value out of the investments. And so that was kind of the starting point. And like I said, we're starting to deal with more and more highly technical teams, starting to deal with larger organizations as well, who are interested in the technology. So that's kind of and then the SaaS-based users as well. So that's kind of the who are using it.
Yep.
One of the things that we also studied about the space and why we thought there was an opportunity, and this really kind of goes down to the idea of making something that's very powerful but also very simple, is we felt like we had to solve the entire problem, and that starts from at the data itself, works its way all the way up through design and build of a solution, testability of a solution, deployment of that solution, and monitoring of that solution. So we wanted to solve the entire kind of problem as a whole. A lot of times what happens in the way in which an implementation works for us is there's some type of event where an organization is either buying a new CRM product, a new HRIS product, a new financial system, whatever the case may be. And in order to get the most value out of that investment, the data needs to be connected across the entire enterprise. And so what we do with an organization is really help them kind of take that information. A lot of the specific use cases that we do, from a sales perspective, I want to take all the data that drives the lead to close process. So all of my opportunities that are won, all of my customer data, all of my billing contacts, I want to be able to synchronize that data with my financial and billing system. So those are a lot of the things that we'll come into an implementation, and we'll be able to stand up our environment and be able to start to create that synchronization and integration.
So just on as a kind of maybe more in-depth approach to that, I'm trying to get to the point of what does success look like for your customers. So you have a wonderful no-code platform which allows business technical, the app managers we're talking about, to be able to design, I guess, a integration approach that you can then implement in the Team Central. Can you maybe define, when you talk to customers, what success looks like for them?
Yeah. So, another one of the quote unquote inspirations for building this company, and we were spawned from a larger company called Centric Consulting, which is an international management and tech consulting firm, and Centric is really founded on the concept of unmatched client and employee experiences.
Right.
So really being maniacal about the customer experience and customer support, and that's really hard to do in the business that we're in.
Right. Yes.
Especially as we grow, and so we may not always get it right. I'm sure we won't and don't, but we always have our customers' best interest at heart. Success for them is a lot of things. To me, first, it's kind of speed to market. So it's a different way of building solutions within an enterprise. Whereas things in this space before were really hard and very technical. We're trying to kind of create those levels of abstraction so that organizations can really launch that CRM 2 months faster potentially, or with managing and building solutions in days and weeks, not months. So speed to market is really important. Being able to provide solutions to organizations that to achieve things that they couldn't do elsewise on their own, or they'd have to hire, a bunch of consultants to come and build a solution that would be very hard for them to support long term. So being able to provide solutions to organizations, to give them independence, and then to ultimately just have big impact on their bottom line, and whether that's the new sales system they're putting in place, they get the most kind of out of those investments.
I can certainly see speed to market is critical. Reducing clients' backlog of potential integrations or solutions out in the marketplace, and all that gets them to the speed to market faster, which allows them to generate more sales, more revenue, more opportunities. So all these are great areas, and it's certainly you've got a great opportunity in front of you. But what's been some of the challenges that you've run in building a data company like Team Central?
I'm a big sports guy. I played and coached a lot of basketball in my life, and so when I think about our company, I have another analogy that I think about, and it's a referee at a sporting event. And so a referee has a tremendous impact on the outcome of a game, but nobody goes to a game to see the referee. And if a referee has an amazing game, nobody knows about it. But if they have a terrible game, everybody knows about it.
Yes.
And so I have a lot of respect for referees from that standpoint. The reason I share that is what we do. We manage in a lot of cases, the most precious asset that organizations have. We manage their data,
Yeah.
and we manage their business process. A lot of the organizations that we have, if Central's not up and running, they can't create sales orders. They can't resolve things within our financial systems, and so they become dependent upon us. And so when things go well, it's just expected, right? And when things don't go so well, it's a big problem. So doing that at scale and is it's a big challenge. And like I said before, we're trying to build a system that isn't just another tool that we hand to the customer. We productize how we actually help them, improve the quality of their data and manage that very precious asset. The other thing that's difficult about what we do is not everything's generally in our control. You talk about moving to the cloud and all these disparate sources of data. They're all managed independently of what I can control. And so when things go wrong there, ultimately I may be responsible for that, or Team Central may be responsible for that. But that's a big challenge, but it's a challenge that we're willing to take on, and we have a lot of fun trying to figure out those problems.
So Mark, just in the final minute or two, you've obviously over the last couple of years created a great product, a great team. Can you maybe give us a glimpse of what the future vision looks like for the Team Central and also other types of low-code solutions, and how Team Central is going to be an integral part of that vision?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great products in the space. What's cool about the space too is there's tons of complementary products. Team Central is not the solution for all things, and so there's all these different, whether it's RPA products or human-centered BPM products. So there's different types of solutions. From our standpoint, the way in which we're going to continue to get better and grow in the data management space, integration space that we play in, is just continuing to make those solutions smarter. Being able to find problems before the customer even would know they exist, being able to self-heal in a lot of cases, issues that are happening. In a lot of cases, being able to make the solutions build themselves. So being able to look at data and build models so that the solution, is constantly kind of improving and allowing people to build things smarter and faster. So I think that's and as those things happen, I think you'll start to see a lot of the convergence in a lot of these solutions. A lot of the kind of more citizen developer products that exist today will continue to kind of come in line with some of the more tech heavy products. So you'll see kind of a convergence in the space. And again, for us, it's all about kind of this concept of virtual workforce. And productizing that. So, picture a world where, we're managing all this data and really building a data platform. To us, was the conduit to the next wave of automation technology. Picture a scenario where everybody in an organization kind of has an assistant type product that is understanding what they work on, who they interact with, and really kind of help them be more effective in their job. I think that's where these automation solutions add even more value. I think there's a ton of opportunity in being able to deliver enterprise technology via voice and text and chat-based interfaces. And so that's where a lot of I think applications that we'll build on top of the platform kind of going forward.
Mark, an interesting space. We'd like to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We hope that we get the chance to come back and hear what's going on with Team Central at a later date.
Thank you, Robert. Again, it's been a pleasure to sit down with you today. Honored to be involved with CDO Magazine, and I appreciate your time.
We thank you for your gracious time this morning, and for our listeners, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.